Hello everyone, this is Pooja, pursuing MTech in Embedded Systems in VIT Chennai campus. You all know about the protocols in the automotive field. Now I am going to explain you an important protocol called CAN Open protocol. What are all the things I would like to say is first CAN Open. What is the definition of the CAN Open protocol? How OSI model is there in CAN Open? Message format and the object dictionary, communication mechanisms and applications. So what is CAN Open first? So CAN Open is a high level communication protocol and the device profile specification that is based on the CAN, that is Controller Area Network Protocol. It was developed especially for the embedded networking applications and it is also having highly flexible configuration capabilities. So the applications of the CAN Open are medical equipments, off-road vehicles, maritime, electronics, railway applications or building automation. So let me discuss about OSI model of CAN and CAN Open. So what is OSI model? So OSI model is the structure how a protocol works stage by stage, that it is having physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport session, presentation and application layer. So the data link and physical is for CAN and the application, presentation, session, transport and network is for CAN Open. So what physical layer do? It defines the lines used, voltages, high speed nature, etc. What does this data link layer do? It is related to frame based messages, transfer and all. Network layer, its job is to addressing and routing. Transport layer, end-to-end reliability. Session layer for synchronization. Presentation layer is for data encoded in standard way. And all these things are combined in the application layer, that is how to configure, how the data transfer taken place, how synchronize happens in CAN Open devices. Okay, so now we already know that frame based messages are transferred from the CAN Open. So it is necessary to know message format. How is the message format? So the fields are function node, node ID, RTR, control bit. So COB ID, data length and data. Let me explain about these fields. The message data format for a CAN open frame is based on the CAN frame format. In the CAN protocol, the data is transferred in the frames. We know that, consisting of an 11-bit or 29-bit CAN ID. The control bits such as remote transfer bit, start bit, 4-bit data length field and 0 to 8 bits. So these things are indicated in this figure. So the data length is of 4 bits and this data is of 0 to 8 bits. It is not, the bits are not specified here. So the control bit is of 1 bit here and these 11 bits are COB ID. So COB ID commonly referred to in CAN Open, it consists of the CAN ID and control bits. This CAN ID and control bits togetherly called as COB ID. So in CAN Open, the 11-bit CAN ID is split into two parts, that is for function node. Here it is 4-bit function node and the 7-bit node ID. CAN Open node ID. Why this restriction for 7-bit node ID is, that means the amount of the devices on a CAN Open network to restricts to only 127 nodes. So the important thing for this discussion is object dictionary. So this is the method by which a CAN Open device can be communicated with. How CAN Open devices communicated with? That is through object dictionary. So it is a table that stores configuration and process data. It is a requirement for all CAN Open devices to implement an object dictionary. for all CANopen devices, there should be the implementation of object dictionary. The CANopen standard defines a 16-bit index and an 8-bit subindex. That is, it is permissible to have up to 65536 indices and up to 256 subentries at each index. And the standard defines that certain address and addresses range must contain specific parameters. For example, just now I told about the index and subindex. So if the index is 1008H and the subindex is 00H, means it indicates the device name. The device name here is the parameter. And the CANopen master can read this index from a network of CANopen slave in order to uniquely identify each slave by name. So it reads the index from a network of CANopen slaves. So to uniquely identify the slave by name. So this is the job of the object dictionary. So it is necessary to know now how CANopen communicates with object dictionary. For example, one could write a true to the index in the manufacturer specification section of the object dictionary, that is in the range 2000H to 5FFH, which the device could interpret as an enable signal for acquiring data from a voltage input. So the input is voltage, the data is acquiring, and this should be enabled. This communication is the communication between CANopen and object dictionary. So, and one more thing, conversely, the master may also want to read the information from the object dictionary to get the acquired data or to find out how the device is currently configured. So these things can be done by object dictionary and CANopen. Okay, so how this communication between the CANopen and object dictionary happens means it is through the communication mechanisms, that is SDO and PDO. That is service data object and process data object. Okay. So the service data object means, that is SDO. The CANopen protocol also specifies that each node on the network must implement a server that handles read-write request to object dictionary. So the server is requesting the read or write operation to the object dictionary. So object dictionary again in turn should communicate with CANopen. So what happens is, so this allows the CANopen master to act as a client. So it is communicating with object dictionary. So the node should act as a master, which act as a client to the server. So this is specified by the object dictionary. So this mechanism for direct access, that is read-write to server's object dictionary. So that's why it is called service data objects, that is SDO. The node whose object dictionary is accessed is transferred to as the SDO server, and the node grabbing the data is referred to as SDO client. What? The SDO client and SDO server, two things are there. So the node whose object dictionary is accessed is referred to as SDO server, and the node grabbing the data is called as SDO client. The transfer is always started by the SDO client. So client should request the server and its server node should give service to client. This happens. So this is the example how it works. So the master node and 3 slave nodes are there. So master node is a client here. Okay. And these slave nodes are servers here. So master node being a client, it is sending the SDO request with the ID 603H to all the slave nodes. But only targeted node should respond to the master node. So assume the slave node 3 is a targeted node. It sees the message ID and understands that message is an SDO request and that it needs to respond. In turn, it will respond with the message ID 583H. So in detail, I am going to explain this example. The master CANopen node will send a request to the network and node of the interest will respond with data requested. Yes. The can open uses reserve message ID to facilitate this communication. So it is having the particular ID, that itself is a can ID. So when the SDO client wants to request the information from the server, it sends the SDO request, that is SDO client sends SDO request using the CAN ID of 600H and plus node ID. So server will then respond using CAN ID of 580H plus node ID. So the node ID specify which slave node the message is coming from. The significance of node ID is all the slave nodes are not responding. So only one slave node is responsive. So which particular slave node is responding? This is the job of, to identify this, this is the job of node ID. For example, it is shown in the figure here. Okay. So this ID is a CAN ID plus node ID. This 60H is 603H is CAN ID plus CAN ID of 600H plus node ID. So although all nodes see the message, only targeted node should respond. The targeted node understands that message with the ID 603H means that the message is intended for that node, which is an SDO request. The data field of the message will specify the index and the subindex of the object, which the master would like to access the data. The targeted node then responds with the message ID 583H, and the data field of the response message will contain the data requested. This is the overall function, how master node being a client sends a request, how slave node being a server will serve the client. This is the communication with the can open and object dictionary. It happens like this. So can ID, it is also having specific format. Okay. So can ID, again it is divided into three sections. One is specifier and another one is ID index and subindex. Another one is data. Again this specifier is expanded into client command specifier CCS and reserve it a number of bytes that don't contain the data. Expedited transfer whether the data size is set. So these bits. So the explanation of that format of CAN ID is here. So the data section of the CAN open frame also follows a specific format as I have shown for SDO. The data section of the CAN frame is split into three parts, that is 1 byte of specifier, 3 bytes of node index and subindex, 4 bytes of actual data in the transfer. So actual data transfer is of 4 bytes. The indices of subindex and ID index is 3 bits and single bit specifier. So 3 bits of the specifier byte are referred to as client commands specifier, that is CCS, which indicates what type of message is being transferred, whether it is read, write or abort. The fourth bit is reserved in this specifier. The fifth and sixth bits indicate the number of the bytes in the data part of the message that do not contain actual data, and the seventh bit indicates whether the transfer is expedited transfer or a segmented transfer, and the final bit indicates whether the amount of the data is specified in the bit 5, 6 or whether it is specified in the data part of the message. So what is segmented transfer and what is expedited transfer? So when we select segmented transfer is selected when all the data that needs to be transferred does not fit into a single message. So that time the message is divided into segments and then it is multiple segments, it is divided and then it is transferred. And the expedited transfer is where all the data is sent as a single message. So in the initialization phase, SDO can transfer up to 4 bytes of data. Expedited transfer is single message is transferred, combining all. And optionally, an SDO transfer can also occur in the series of the blocks. So each block consists of up to 127 segments. So the block transfer is faster than the segmented transfer for large data sets. So the next communication mechanism between CANopen and Object Dictionary is PDO, that is Process Data Object. In this, I like to explain why Process Data Object is necessary. Processes means it is like a task, like that. So the process data represents that can be changing in time. So process data means what? The data changing in time means each and every time the data changes. For example, consider sensors as inputs and motor drives as output. So sensors data, input data, every time it changes. As it changes, the output motor drives also changes. The rotation of the motor should also change. So the process data in this scenarios where the data is changing each and every time, the process data object communication mechanism is used. So the process data is also stored in the object dictionary. However, since SDO communication only allows access to only one object dictionary index at a time, just now we saw that in this, so only one slave node, it is sending request to all the nodes, but only targeted single slave node is responding. So that happens here in SDO. So and here process data object mechanism, multiple parallel communication happens with including each and every time the changing data. In addition, CANopen protocol has the requirement that a node must be able to send its own data without needing to be polled by CANopen master. So without the need of polling, this protocol should work. It should be able to send its own data. That time also this PDO is used. So the different method is used to transfer process data using communication method called process data objects. So two important things where process data objects can use is each and every time input is changing and outputs also changing, one scenario, and where it is able to, it should be, protocol should be able to send its own data without the need of polling by the CANopen master. These two things where PDO is required. So how PDO works? So it is having one master node, two slave nodes, and each two slave nodes having input output devices. So 1, 2, 3, each and every time it is changing. So I am going to discuss about event driven PDOs. The transmission is of many types. One is event driven, time driven, synchronizing, polling, etc. So this example is with event driven. So input updates here to the slave node. So this PDO processes data changes. So each and every time data changing, it processes it and transfer to the master node. It accepts all these changes at a time, all these input output devices at a time. So the CANopen master sends out a sync message. The multiple nodes may be configured to see and respond to that sync message. In this way, the master is able to get a snapshot of multiple process objects at a same time. Multiple process objects at the same time. The master is able to get. So this is how the PDO works. So the different types of transmission. This example is with event driven. So different type of transmission is time driven, individual polling, synchronized polling. So the event driven transmission is the PDO transfer is initiated when the process data in it changes. Just now we discussed. And the time driven is transfer occurs at a fixed time interval. That is time driven. So individual polling means the PDO transfer is initiated using a mechanism called remote request. When request is accepted and when request is sent, then only polling should happen. This is where it happens. It is called individual polling. This is not usually used. And synchronized polling is the PDO transfer is initiated using a sync signal. The sync signal is frequently used as a global timer here. So the PDO, TPDO, RPDO, that is transfer PDO and receive PDO. The data coming from the node means the data is produced, that is TPDO. Coming to the node means node is consumed here. And two important parameters is configuration parameters and mapping parameters. With these things only all this communication happens, that is with the COB ID and the transmission type and inhibit time and the event timer. It is with the configuration parameters. And when it comes to mapping parameters, it specify which object dictionary value are sent by single PDO message. And finally, applications, I would like to say CANopen works with medical equipments, off-road vehicles, maritime electronics, railway applications, building automation, especially more importantly medical equipments, heartbeat. That is, heartbeat means many nodes are there in the heart. This is the connection between the veins and arteries. So the each interconnection is called a node. So the node may be live or dead. The detection of the node is dead or live according to the dead and number of the dead and live nodes. How heartbeat is getting varying. So in this scenario, this CANopen protocol is used. Thank you.